They will tell you success is strategy. They'll sell you systems, shortcuts, 10 steps to get rich by Friday. But the truth? Success is not strategy. It is identity. It's not what you do once in a while. It's what you do without thinking. It's the thought you return to in the silence when no one is watching, when the lights are off and it's just you and the echo of your mind. You become what you repeatedly think. That was the secret Andrew Carnegie whispered to a young Napoleon Hill. A truth so simple, most ignore it. A truth so powerful, the world's wealthiest men guarded it like gold. And yet, it's been there all along, in your thoughts, in your patterns, in the invisible repetition of your internal world. So ask yourself, what are you rehearsing in your mind? Doubt, fear. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if they laugh? Or belief, conviction, certainty. What if this is the moment everything changes? Because thought is the seed and your life is the harvest. There is no escaping that law, not even by accident. No one stumbles into greatness. They build it first in their minds. Edison saw the light bulb in his imagination long before it ever lit a room. Ford saw a motor car in every driveway before the world believed it could exist. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination, and yet he kept building castles in his mind until the world had no choice but to build them in brick and stone. This isn't fantasy, this is the foundation. What you dwell on, you draw closer. What you believe in, you begin to build. The universe bends to the focus of a mind on fire. But here's the tragedy. Most people never take control of their thinking. They live like passengers in their own mind, reacting, doubting, scrolling, comparing. They feed their brain whatever the world throws at them and wonder why they never feel in control. Let me tell you something loud and clear. If you don't program your mind, someone else will. And if you let fear, noise, and mediocrity take the wheel, don't be surprised when you wake up in a life you didn't ask for. You see, your thoughts become habits. Habits become actions. Actions become identity. And identity, that shapes destiny. So it all starts in the invisible. The most dangerous virus on earth is not in the body, it's in the mind. It's the virus of small thinking, the infection of self-doubt. And the cure? It's ruthless mental discipline. It's a mind trained like a warrior, vigilant, intentional, relentless. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe you are. Let me say that again, not for your ears, but for your soul. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe you are. You can want wealth, but if you still identify as someone who never gets ahead, you'll sabotage it. You can want love, but if your thoughts scream, "I'm not enough," you'll chase what hurts you. You can want freedom, but if your mind is in chains, no amount of money will set you free. So change doesn't begin with your goals. It begins with your thoughts. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. Because repetition is how the brain learns. It's how muscle grows. It's how confidence is built. Not by hype, not by wishing, but by repetition. Daily, consistently, unapologetically. So what do you think about when you wake up? What story do you replay when things go wrong? What identity are you rehearsing in your quiet moments? These questions aren't motivational fluff. They are mirrors. And if you have the courage to answer them honestly, you'll discover the real reason you're stuck and the power to get free. Because clarity is power, and when you become aware of your thinking, you gain leverage over it. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop shrinking and start expanding. You stop blaming and start building. You see, thought isn't just internal, it is magnetic. Every breakthrough you crave already exists. It's just waiting for your mind to match the frequency. That's what Hill meant by think and grow rich. He didn't say work yourself into the ground and grow rich. He didn't say hustle blindly. He said think. Think with clarity. Think with belief. Think with direction and purpose. But thinking alone isn't enough. You must back it with action. Faith without works is dead, and thought without action is hallucination. Your mind creates the blueprint, but your discipline builds the structure. Discipline, that old, unfashionable word. But the truth is, every great life is built on discipline, not desire, not hype, not motivation. Discipline. Desire gets you started. Motivation fades. But discipline? That's what shows up when no one claps for you, when the mood dies, when it's hard and boring and silent. Discipline is belief made visible. You think Carnegie built his empire by accident. You think Oprah rose from poverty to global influence because she just felt like it. They were obsessed, focused, committed. And when the world said no, they kept saying yes in their own minds. They didn't wait for evidence. They became the evidence. So you must choose. Will you be casual with your thoughts, or will you take control of them like your life depends on it? Because it does. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a creator of reality, and reality bends for the one who holds a clear vision and refuses to let it go. So decide today, what kind of thinker will you be? Will you be the type who sees problems everywhere and calls it realism? Or will you become the kind of person who sees a problem and responds with intention, with clarity, with faith that refuses to die? Because in the mind of a true visionary, obstacles become feedback, delays become preparation, and pain becomes fuel. It all begins with a thought, but not just one thought, a pattern of thoughts, a rhythm of belief so strong it reshapes how you walk, how you speak, how you breathe. You don't just think rich, you think like someone who already is. You don't just hope for greatness, you think as if it's already done. And then you build it with daily action over time until the world has no choice but to catch up. You become what you repeatedly think. There's a reason most people never rise. It's not because they lack talent. It's not because they weren't given opportunities. It's because they never built the mindset that could hold success. They chase results without building roots. They seek harvest without sowing thought. But every giant tree began as a seed, planted in darkness, watered with patience, and fed by a force that refused to give up. That force is purpose. Purpose is not something you stumble into. It's something you decide. It's the choice to live for something greater than comfort, more enduring than applause. Purpose is the fire that keeps burning when everything else fades. It's what keeps the great ones up at night, not from worry, but from conviction. A sense that their life is not random, that every breath is currency, and they refuse to spend it cheaply. When Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times trying to invent the light bulb, reporters asked, how did it feel to fail so many times? He didn't flinch. He said, I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's the mindset of a man driven by purpose. He didn't see failure. He saw feedback. He didn't count mistakes. He counted lessons. Because when your mind is aligned with purpose, you don't quit when it's hard. You double down. You don't back off. You go deeper. But purpose alone isn't enough. You must adapt. Life will throw storms. Plans will fall apart. People will betray you. Markets will shift. The road you thought was straight will twist into something unrecognizable. Good, because growth doesn't happen when things go right. It happens when everything falls apart, and you still show up. Resilience is the companion of purpose. Where purpose gives you direction, resilience gives you durability. You can have the right vision, the right habits, even the right mindset. But if you collapse at the first sign of resistance, none of it matters. You think Lincoln didn't feel pain when he lost election after election before becoming president? You think Nelson Mandela didn't suffer when he spent 27 years in prison before freeing a nation? They didn't break. They refused, because they had already won in their minds. The world just hadn't caught up yet, and that is the real power of thought. to see the outcome before it exists, to feel it as done, to move like it's already real and act like it's already yours. That's not delusion, that's leadership. That's the mindset of the rare few who rise while others sleep. And it begins every morning. What do you feed your mind? Before the world gets its hands on you, what do you tell yourself? Are you reinforcing your doubt or building your dominance? Are you rehearsing limitations or practicing power? You have to get ruthless about this. Guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. The books you read, the voices you allow, the thoughts you tolerate, these are the architects of your future. You cannot build a palace with the blueprint of a prison. So ask yourself right now, is your mental dialogue leading you to victory or keeping you in chains? Is it reminding you of your past or pulling you toward your potential? You've got to rewire the inner narrative. Speak like you mean it. Declare who you are before the world agrees. That's what leaders do. They don't wait for consensus. They command belief. Not just with words, with action, with consistency, with sacrifice, with the kind of repetition that looks boring to the undisciplined, but builds empires for those who endure. Because success is not built in flashes of motivation. It is sculpted in silence, carved in discipline, etched in the hours no one applauds. And that's the final test. Can you keep showing up when no one sees you? Can you do the work when no one notices? Can you believe in the vision when no one else does? Because if you can think the thought long enough, hold the belief strong enough, take the action consistently enough, then the world will call you lucky. But luck is the name they give to the disciplined, to the committed, to the obsessed. And here's the most beautiful part. You don't have to change your whole life today. You just have to change your dominant thought. Just one, because the mind, once redirected, becomes a magnet. And that magnet doesn't draw what you wish for. It draws what you are. So become it. Become the mindset of wealth. Become the pattern of success. Become the thought of abundance over and over until the world has no choice but to respond. You are not waiting for success. Success is waiting for you to become the person who can receive it. And it begins the moment you realize you become what you repeatedly think. Some people will hear this and nod. They'll agree. They'll say, that makes sense. But agreement is not transformation. Change doesn't come to the one who understands. It comes to the one who moves, the one who takes the truth and lives it, the one who rewrites their identity in the furnace of commitment. So this is your invitation, not to motivation, but to mastery, to take dominion over your mind, because that is the highest form of freedom. The power to command your thoughts is the power to command your future. That's what Napoleon Hill meant when he said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Conceive, believe, achieve. That's the formula. But people skip the middle. They try to achieve without belief. They chase goals without first reconstructing the mind that sabotaged them in the past. But belief is the bridge between idea and reality. And belief is not a feeling. It's a decision, a contract you sign with your future, and then honor with relentless follow-through. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need everyone's approval. You don't need the right time. You need alignment between what you think, what you speak, and how you act. When those three are in harmony, you become unstoppable, because now your energy is not fractured. You're not doubting while doing, not hesitating while hoping, not pretending while procrastinating. You're embodying, and that's when life begins to bend, not overnight, but inevitably. So start small, but start. Rehearse the thought until it becomes your language. Speak the language until it becomes your habit. Repeat the habit until it becomes your identity, and then watch the world rise to meet you. This is the quiet revolution. Not loud, not flashy, but permanent. Because thoughts become patterns, and patterns become fate. And if you want to change your fate, you don't need a miracle. You need a new mindset, a new internal dialogue, a new mental standard that refuses to tolerate anything beneath excellence. That's the secret the greats never told you. They didn't need the world to change. They changed themselves, and the world mirrored back what they became. You think that's exaggeration? Study Carnegie, study Rockefeller, study Jobs, study Disney. They didn't chase, they became. And the world followed. So the question is not, can you do it? The question is, will you dare to think like the version of you that already has? Will you dare to discipline your thoughts like your life is on the line? Because it is. Your legacy is being written in the invisible theater of your mind right now, and no one else can write it for you, so become ruthless with what you allow up there. No more casual thinking, no more recycled doubt, no more mental junk food. Replace every lie with truth, every fear with a vision, every limitation with a command, because thought is not passive, it's creative. It's a blueprint, a compass, a frequency. And once you lock into the frequency of abundance, power, and purpose, nothing can untune you. Let others mock your vision. Let them doubt your silence. You'll be too busy building. Because when you train your thoughts to serve your future instead of haunt your past, you will finally become who you were born to be. This is the moment it begins. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you know you're meant to live is the thought you're willing to believe on repeat. So choose it, practice it, become it, and let the world feel the full force of a mind on fire. You become what you repeatedly think, and now it's time to think like a champion. Champions don't need the world to clap before they move. They don't need proof before they believe. They believe and then create the proof, because they know everything you see around you was once just a thought. The buildings, the planes, the systems, the wealth, all of it. Everything man-made began in the unseen, a whisper in the mind that someone refused to ignore. So if you still doubt the power of your thinking, look around. The evidence is your reality. Your results are simply the reflection of your dominant mental patterns. And if you want new results, you must upgrade the pattern, not with hype, not with false confidence, but with inner engineering, with new belief, reinforced by new action and made permanent through daily repetition. The man who becomes wealthy doesn't stumble into it. He conditions his thoughts to match wealth. He makes abundance the norm in his language, in his posture, in his decisions. Even when there's nothing in his account, his mind is full. That's why it comes. The woman who becomes powerful, she doesn't beg for opportunity. She becomes opportunity. She aligns her thoughts with worthiness, discipline, excellence, and the world adjusts its response to match her self-perception. This is not magic. This is mental law. You attract who you are. You experience what you expect. You rise only to the level of your belief. So hear this. You don't have a success problem. You have a thinking standard you haven't raised. It's not about working harder until you burn out. It's about thinking higher until you break through. Because once your mind expands, it can never shrink back. Once you decide that nothing outside of you controls your destiny, the game changes. Now your failures are fuel. Your pain is instruction. Your setbacks are setups. You stop asking, why me, and start declaring, watch me. This isn't motivation. This is identity. And identity is the final frontier. Because once you believe you are the kind of person who creates, who endures, who wins, it's only a matter of time before results arrive to confirm what your mind already knew. So as you walk into tomorrow, don't take your old thoughts with you. Burn them. Burn the doubts. Burn the excuses. Burn the lie that says your past has any power over your future. And from the ashes, rise new. Think like a person worthy of the life you want. Speak like you're already living it. Act like success is your duty, not a dream. And when fear whispers, when the world tests you, return to the truth. You become what you repeatedly think. So think boldly, think abundantly, think with fire, and then become.